Alright, welcome back to the HnK Video Game Experience, episode 22 this time. I believe that's what it is. And it's here with Clear Fire. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. What's going on?
Nothing, dude. Off in the closet today, doing the podcast.
Well, that was funny. I was off in the closet earlier this week trying to dodge a tornado.
Yeah, I saw that on the page. So everybody was hiding from Mississippi that's on our Facebook friends, and they're all posting pictures of them in the closet and stuff. And on the PlayStation Network. So
closet dwellers for a couple hours there.
Yeah, that's crazy. It seems like it's going on more often now in the up there. These tornadoes. We got the hurricanes down here, so.
Well, now we've made this new pact with Mother Nature that spring isn't really spring in Mississippi anymore until you hear the first tornado siren.
So, spring is here.
We know spring is here now because we had our tornado sirens going off on Wednesday night.
Well, that's cool. So Holliwood Cole here. Just wanted to throw my name out there. I didn't say it this time. I usually do. Holliwood Cole and Kleer Fire. So that's where you get the HnK from the H. I don't know if anybody knows that. The HnK, that's where we get that. The Holliwood Cole and Kleer Fire video game experience. So now you know it took us 22 episodes. They probably thought we were naming it after the gun. Yeah. So that's where we get it from. So we're going to talk today about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles video games of the 8 and 16-bit era. Kind of touch on it just a little bit. Yeah, we always thought that would be a pretty good subject there because you showed me most of these things, so most of these ones, and I was a Super Nintendo guy, and you showed me a lot of them, and I'll save the stories for when we start talking about it.
They were some of my favorite games.
Yeah, so I
was a turtle addict. Come on. You know that I love samurais because of Ninja Turtles 3.
That's right, yeah, I know.
That's a story we had back in one of the earlier podcasts. So if you go back and listen to that, you can hear me bringing in Ninja Turtles somehow. In the collectors, so Ninja Turtles. I got some Ninja Turtle stuff. And just tonight, one of my friends from high school, she posted a picture. Her little 3-year-old boy, he's got a head up on me. He's got all 4 of the Ninja Turtle pops. And the regular ones, not the 8-bit ones. I like the regular ones. And I'm like, man, I'm jealous. And then I had to send her a picture. And if you go on Facebook, you'll see it. Or not Facebook, it's on Instagram right now. Trying to give you a hint of what we're recording tonight, which by now you know is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, we ought to do the next contest is, what does Clear Fire like? Just, what does that mean? It's like a riddle. Well, what is he like? And if you want to know, you just ask Holliwood Cole. And it's like, oh, that's samurai. He liked Ninja Turtles. That's the hint. It's samurais, of course. He had a samurai one. Yep. And I learned that. I didn't know that Revelation 6:17 liked samurais either because he had the same Ninja Turtle you had. So he was a big samurai fan. So anyway, I told him about that. Or he heard it. He heard it on the podcast. But So we're getting a little bit of news and then kind of dive into that and touch on a few of these games and just share some video game experiences of those few games there. So, what do you got in the news, man?
Well, first I'm going to start off with, something I saw that was interesting that I posted on our Facebook page is that Valve is using 1,700 CPUs to crack down on cheating on their Counter-Strike game on PC. And I'm like sitting here thinking, 1,700 CPUs. The processing power behind that just to catch all the people out there cheating. That's insane. That shows you that a company is dedicated to fix their cheating issue.
They could just be Pentium 3s.
Yeah, I don't think that. I don't know. But,
I mean, that's why they need so many. I don't know.
But I mean, that's crazy to think. I mean, heck, even if it is Pentium 3s, the processing power behind that is insane. That's a ton of processing power.
Yeah.
But
so what do you mean they just using them? They're just hooking them up?
So basically what it is you've got your servers. You can put CPUs in your servers. So they've got probably a rack mounted server set up. And servers sometimes can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Depending on the server, can take several PCUs inside of it. CPUs inside. I'm sorry. And so they've probably got all these rack-mounted servers in there. Put all these CPUs in there to put all the processing power they can behind it, and then just chugging away at it and seeing what they can do to do it. Or they've got it doing through virtual servers, which, I mean, they're doing it through virtual servers. It's not as much processing power as it sounds. But it's still pretty powerful either way, because you still have to, in some way, have a physical representation of your processors in a server when you do virtual servers. So, I mean, you got to think about it. It's like having, and if it's server class CPUs, they're all way better than anything we've got for consumer use. So you're looking at having these CPUs. I mean, when you talk about CPUs, you're talking about like i7 processors. Those things. Those are the CPUs. If people don't know that, and so it stands for Central Processing Unit for everybody that doesn't know that as well. So you've got all these processors that are sitting here just chugging away. They're the powerhouse of whatever computer you have. And
the brain.
I mean, just to have 1,700 of those things. I'm just so like
1,700 brains.
Exactly. I mean, it's just like crazy to think that. So that was just one of my little flash things that was just like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. And then too, another thing is
well, what were you? So they're probably just doing that for so that probably I'm just guessing. So they're processing all of the inputs, basically going through that server, of course, but it's probably just whatever types of code, all those servers, because I'm trying to how to explain this, all this CPU because and processing power, because they're going to process basically essentially every button mash or whatever that comes through to make sure that code lines up with what they have. And I bet anything out of the ordinary, that's when they look into it.
It sets a trigger and it goes back up.
Yeah. And then some kind of, something that doesn't line up with the way that code is supposed to flow.
Well, I mean, it's that, and two, you're also running the code of the game, to the code that's coming in, and comparing the two to see if they match up and align, because you have hacks that aren't just button presses that, are the code reading.
Well, that's what I mean, yeah. Essentially, I was just kind of getting it as bare bones.
So, but I mean, dude, that's a lot of processing power. I'm still like oh my gosh, it's like I want 1,700
What is
CPUs.
it for? What game?
Counter-Strike. It seems like I'm guessing
Counter-Strike.
I'm guessing they have quite a bit of cheating going on that game. I mean, it's a PC. It's the PC version. And
Counter-Strike from back in like 1995.
No, I think I've got a newer version of Counter-Strike out. Here, let me pull up the article and give it a little more. Yeah, they take it to cheaters. Counter-Strike Global Offensive is the full title.
Okay, it must be something new. They try to re-release, and then it.
Yeah. They're about they say they're about 600,000 5v5 matches every day or so.
Dang.
So they haven't. We bought a server. They bought a server farm. So these are physical servers that contain 1,700 CPUs, and they're planning on getting 1,700 more.
All right. Well, what else you got?
That's just wild. Let's see. So, a game that I used to play, or that I played a little bit, was Injustice. Well, Injustice 2 came out over a year ago, I think now. And now they're finally releasing the Legendary Edition. And there's a trailer on our Facebook page. Go check it out, guys. I just wanted to bring attention to that because I thought it was a pretty cool one. Let's see, what else I got? Far Cry 5 just released, so that's something that, people keep your eye out on. Seems like it's going to be a pretty fun game. Look how it grows. It seems like it's going to be it's getting pretty popular.
God of War, I saw the advertisement. April 20th.
Yeah, God of War is fixing to come out. something that I want to speak about that we kind of said that it's taboo to talk about again is Destiny 2. Hate to bring it back up, but they just dropped an update, and they're trying to fix it. And you're gonna hear it from us, and hopefully one day I'm gonna lay down a Destiny 2 quasi rant. It's just gonna be me just going off on it, basically. So y'all can enjoy that and hear what I have to say about it, since I'm the bigger fan of Destiny out of the two of us, and I still try to attempt to play every once in a while. But they did this update called Go Fast Update. That's what they're calling it. Well, of course, as Bungie typically does, they have broken something in it again. So if you are a warlock and you have your Dawn Blade and you have, I think it's called Boost Glide, if I'm not mistaken. It's the one where you can double tap and you kind of get this boost to shoot forward. If you do it in the right pattern, your Boost Glide will actually travel you across the map. You have to go into Dawn Blade and then do the Boost Glide, and it will actually you can actually travel across the map faster than a sparrow. It's insane. I've watched some videos on it. It's crazy.
That's
how
the
fast
funnest thing in the whole game. They ought to leave that in there.
Yeah, so it looks like it made it a little fun, and it looks like a lot of things have changed in it that might be a little fun, but they still have, it's just 4v4 for PvP. You still can't select your maps. You still can't select your, if you wanted to go do the different strikes, you still have to just hope and pray to RNGesus to get the strike that you want. You can't go pick them still. So they still have a lot of things they need to fix that they just should have had carry over from Destiny 1. But,
well, we've talked about that ad nauseum from
exactly.
Destiny. If you want to hear more about that, then go to, I think, what was it, our second episode? No, that second one was the anticipation. Then we played 2 retro reviews, so episode 5, Destiny 2, and it doesn't even hide it. It just says Destiny 2 sucks. And then if you listen to probably the next 5 episodes, we talk about Destiny each time.
We have a dragon. And I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I do want to point out that they are trying to do things to it, and that was one of the big things in the news.
They're not trying to do things to it at all. They're not. I'm going to tell you right now, they're trying to make you guys hang in there so they can make more money later. I'm serious. And if they're not, that would be the biggest 180 for that company any company to ever do, because they said it every single time. The only thing I'll say about it is every time they release an update, they said, "Oh, we're listening, and this is going to be the one that fixes it." And every single time, everybody had hope, and we kept buying into it. Well, I mean, at some point, you gotta say,
exactly. You gotta
okay, I don't believe you. I don't believe you anymore. Yeah. I mean, that's it.
Well, if you go back onto our Facebook page and you look down just a little below the post about the Go Fast update, you see the article that I really enjoyed reading. Excuse me. It was how Destiny is a lagger in the updates and the patch cycle of modern day games. Modern day games patch a lot faster than Destiny does, a lot faster than what Bungie does. Their cycle is they put out updates and everything like that. Go read that article, really good article on that, and it shows one of the main issues that they have. And just like what me and Holliwood were just saying, it's just too late. Destiny's done. I don't even know if there's a Destiny 3, I don't know if I'll play it. I really don't.
Destiny is so, I saw a thing that Destiny is so, I mean, seriously, I think it was on like Reddit or something. It was like Destiny's so gone that nobody even talks about Destiny anymore as being gone. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it really does. I mean, it's just so long. I think it was at 30,000 people overall, all 3 systems, or PC. What is it? Yeah,
the 3 systems. It'd be 3 systems. Yeah. I mean, well, hey, don't say that on any of the Facebook pages that are dedicated to Destiny 2. They'll be like, "Well, then you go leave us then," and all that kind of stuff.
That's fine. I did, but, and they can enjoy the game. If you're enjoying the game, I have no hate toward anybody that doesn't hate the game. I'm just saying, it's not. This cannot be the standard for gaming, or literally we're done.
And you can't play games anymore. Don't preach this is the best game ever. It's not the best game ever. Go play Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter's a better game. By far, it's a better game. It's more encapsulating. It has less of a story, and it's more encapsulating and more in capturing than Destiny 2 is. Because it could draw you back in. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll leave that at that. And I want to leave us a lot of time to talk about Turtles. So that's all I got for news. It wasn't a whole lot much going on, and two, I've been swamped at work, so I haven't been really jumping on much reading news stuff. So,
all right, cool. Well, so where do we even start with Ninja Turtles? So this is, if you were a kid in the 80s and 90s, then you knew about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So it was it was a comic book first, and then it turned into a cartoon. I never read the comic books. The comic books are dark, they're violent, they're it's not like the cartoon the Saturday morning cartoon. It came with the fun Ninja Turtles and this kind of stuff, the funny bad guys and just goofball bad guys, and the cool Ninja Turtles, the good guys kicking butt. So, and then inevitably the video games came after, and the one that pops in everybody's mind, so obviously if you played Nintendo, the first one pops into your mind, that the side scroller that you could pick the four turtles, had nothing to do with the cartoon, right? It's just so it threw everybody off. But before that, but there's also let me just keep it there. So we'll talk about the NES one first. So the NES one, the very first one, everybody was super stoked about it because it's a fun-loving cartoon, and then you get the game, and I think you showed me this one. I don't know if you showed me this one or it's just something I played at my cousin's house at Randy's. He had a bunch of games.
He had all the games.
And so this one is a side-scroller one, right? So you can pick from all four turtles at any time, which is very unique for the time. You could just switch through the characters. They all had, Donatello had the long bow, of course. Raphael had the little bitty sai that just twisted. He was a little bit faster with his weapon strikes. But none of the enemies from the cartoon were... there was a few. You had Bebop and Rocksteady and Shredder, and that's pretty much it. I think there was some Mousers you had to kill.
Yeah, the Mousers were kind of interesting for the way they looked on the game versus from the show.
And so... I'm laughing right now because I went back and watched it again. This is if you have not seen it, go back and watch Angry Video Game Nerd's review.
I so gotta watch that.
Oh my gosh, you gotta watch that so bad. So it is not family friendly at all. In fact, it's I don't even know how to say raunchy, maybe, because it's just like so. I wish I had a better vocabulary to describe this show. The show itself is good, but it's just constant.
I will say it's distasteful towards Ninja Turtles, but I'm a Ninja Turtles fan, so I can say that in humor and in disgust at the same point in time.
Well, it's not like distasteful towards Ninja Turtles.
I know, you know what I mean.
But it's so what this guy did, he did a Castlevania 2 video for his friends, his very first thing. Well, then he did a Ninja Turtle one. He's a film school guy. He's like our age. His name's James Roth, but he did that, and it's like. The Ninja Turtle one that he released went viral. It's got like 4 million views and stuff. This was back though in like 2004 or something. So this guy's been in the game for a long time. Now his videos are more production value and stuff. And so I don't want to get off topic too much, but let me just explain it. So Ninja Turtles. So he talks about all the quirky things in Ninja Turtles that you remember as a kid. Okay, the flaming guy. Like, where's that in the cartoon? He talks about that. Where's I don't remember flame guy and then flying eyeball head, and these types of things. But they do a weird the one part that we always got stuck on as a kid was when you had to get into the turtle van. Everybody's like, "Oh, we're in the turtle van finally!" And you're driving around and you got to get missiles to get past a barrier. So you have to find the missiles and you can go in these different houses. So you go into the houses. And there's one house I think it's the only one you have to get the missiles. You have that little bitty gap that's like one block. And it's just so high up to the ceiling, it's so hard to jump over that it's almost impossible. And, back then it was nothing to just turn off a game. Okay, well, we'll get it later, or we'll figure it out later. We got to ask around at school, or maybe Nintendo Power has something about it. It didn't matter about turning off a game or not finishing it. Like today you buy a game, you expect to play the whole game. Not back then. It is, I got to level 4, that was it. I got to level 2 or whatever. So it was nothing to turn it off. Anyway, we couldn't figure it out. You try to jump from the ground up, you got to go, however, to get above that on the side scroller part, to get over that hump, or excuse me, over that little bitty gap, and then you find out that you can just walk over it. You remember that?
Yes, I remember that. Now that
you can just walk over it.
Yes, I remember
and
that.
So,
oh my gosh!
And so
yes.
the point is why? So he makes a big deal out of it in the show, in his YouTube thing.
Dude, we made a big deal about it.
No, I'm talking about that with YouTube. Oh yeah, of course. But
we were that age.
Show. I'm talking about the show.
Yeah.
Makes it like he's getting frustrated and all this, and then after you just like. The show used to kind of reflect your emotions as a gamer, as when you played it as a kid, and he's bringing all that back. Well, anyway, that just shows you what type of game it is. Why would they do that? Why would they do that to make it where you can just walk over it, just to irritate kids? And then they'd put a pizza out there. I remember there's so many times. So if you fell down, if you fell through the hole, all the enemies respawned. There is a pizza at the end of that hallway that does not respawn, just the enemies. And then, and then they'd have pizzas like in a gap or somewhere to where you have to, it's a hard, there's no enemies or anything, it's just a hard jump. In fact, they implemented the bad controls into the game just to frustrate you. Like, how you can't get this pizza without a pixel perfect jump, and you can do it as many times as you want. It's like, why would you do that? Why would you make a game like that? But that's what the kind of game it was. It's just kind of brutal for the sake of being brutal. It's just so funny.
Well, something that gets me is because I'm sitting here looking at the box art. What's wrong with the box art?
What's that?
Everybody's Raphael.
No, I knew you were going to say that, but that's not wrong.
It is wrong. Everybody's got red.
That's what they had in the comics.
I don't care about the comics. It's all about the cartoon.
So anyway, yes, it was all about the cartoon to us, but but they tried to do it off the comics, but the game was it was made by Konami or Ultra, which is just another Konami. They just called themselves Ultra. Mm-hmm. But so one thing that everybody remembers about this regular Nintendo, I always say regular Nintendo, this NES game, is the swimming stage. That's where you had to beat the swimming stage, I think. Don't quote me on this, I'm coming purely off memory. You had to finish the swimming stage to get the turtle van. I'm almost positive. But the swimming stage had that pink algae stuff hanging down, you remember? To where it's electrifying you if you swim into it, and you had to disarm the bombs. And that was hard, man, for kids. And so a lot of people never got past that one, but I remember I got past it once, and then that's when you get pretty sure that's when you get the turtle van with the missiles.
That's so frustrating. That was so frustrating.
Because you're naturally in a hurry because you're timed, and you're floating around, kind of floaty controls as you're swimming and stuff, and you get all the way down, and then you have to of your energy, and then you have to switch Ninja Turtles to get a higher energy one. So by the time you finish that swim stage, all of your guys, if they're alive, they barely got any energy, and you got to find pizzas to give them more. You find a whole pizza will give you a whole life, half pizza, half life, and so on. A slice is a little bit, but you would switch turtles that needed it the most, and that's who you would give the pizza to. But you could switch on the fly. If one of them died, you could somehow free them.
Yeah, I was going to say they actually didn't die; they got captured.
Yeah, they got captured, and you could free them somehow.
After stage 3, beginning at stage 3, after you did the swimming part, you could start rescuing.
Oh, they'd be in different houses and stuff. I think I remember that.
Yeah, you could start rescuing after you got past the swimming part, because that was stage 2 was the swimming.
So this one is one of the NES games that I'm going to have to go back and finish. The platforming, like I said, was hard. At one point, you get a rope so you can jump across the roofs, and you had to hit it just perfect to where your guy would throw the rope. And it's just you had to wait. Sometimes you'd try to jump over a gap, but you have to wait for the TV to catch up, or you'd fall. And if you fall, you got to start it. You just drop you off in the street somewhere.
Well, you said it best earlier. Is the controls were horrible for this game. And you're playing on the Nintendo. You just got up, down, left, right, A, B. Come on, guys. How can you make that terrible? And it was terrible controls, but it was so much fun too. We played it. I can't tell you how many countless hours we played it.
Oh yeah, we played it, and this is the one that I've not ever finished, but I did go back and play it recently. Recently being within the last year or two, and I think I got further than I've ever gotten, which was to what was his name? Metalhead. He's a metal. So he was actually in the cartoon Metalhead. And, man, he destroyed me. He was tough. And, I couldn't get past him. But I think that's to save Splinter.
I think so, too. That's pretty far into it. I don't think I ever got past... I know that I never got past Metalhead. So.
Well, I never saw him, besides like on YouTube or something, but the farthest we got was to the top of the roofs, I remember.
Yep.
But anyway, that one I'm going to have to go back and try the USB I got, retro USB or anything that you got that you can put a Game Genie code in and try to see if there's anything for it. Because
that's that Game Genie. Oh, yeah, I got the Game Genie.
And so the retro USB has the Game Genie built into it, so you can look up online and some of the codes that they're already programmed into it. It's pretty cool. I'm
pretty sure if you get a Retro Pi, it has that as well. So
yeah, but they might not have anything like if it's just like I don't know. It's got to be something with your health not going down. It's probably stuff like unlimited rope or unlimited missiles and stuff like that. Nobody cares about.
Exactly. But you bring up something that's interesting that we always talk about. It seems like back in the day, they made games with that fun factor and that hardness to it that they don't do nowadays. Like, they just give you everything. And I just want to point that out because we're talking about another game that I know that neither one of us beat back in the day, that we're both wanting to go back and play again because we still have the fun factors, not just this nostalgia. It was a fun game even though controls were terrible. And they don't do that nowadays. I wish we had games more like from when we were growing up nowadays.
Well, they got the Mega Man 9 and 10, which came out, I don't know, I guess it's been 10 years. Wow. I don't know what exact year they came out, but they came out on Xbox 360, Xbox Live. But, you can go back and play those, and it's the first time. With Mega Man 11's coming out. So I'm sure it'll be like that. But so you got to understand, too, back in the day, that's the way the games were designed for the arcades, to chew up quarters. So then they released them on the NES, and you didn't really know how hard to make it, I guess. The challenge was a good thing, but I'm with you. I like the challenge of it. I like as long as it's fun and it's honest challenge and not
exactly
cheap control or whatever. Then it's
not
a good thing.
Not a ET on the Atari kind of thing.
Atari. So I never talk about Atari. I hate Atari. I think Atari was the reason it failed because of all the garbage games that flew off the shelves. Nobody knew what it's good, and that's first experience of video games, and they just go, video games aren't that fun, and then they stop playing it. I mean, that's exactly what happened. It wasn't E.T. E.T. just broke the camel's back. I mean, it was just all like that.
It was the final thing, yeah.
But then they started evolving, to where we have now, to where it's this big experience, almost like a movie. Where you go to the movie, you're not going to say, "Oh, that's got too hard to understand. I guess I can leave now." You're going to watch the whole hour and a half or whatever. But this is a whole other topic. But that's an interesting subject to bring up, our study to do on the history of video games, which is out there. You can go look at several books about that kind of stuff, or how Nintendo took over the world, or the story of Nintendo. There's a bunch of stuff like that. So, that game there, I'm sure a lot of people remember that one, and it was a big letdown at first when you first played it, because you thought it was going to be like the arcade game, which we're going to get out into in a second. But but overall, it is a classic. Everybody remembers it, and everybody still plays it. And I need to go. After reviewing it for this podcast, it makes me want to go back and play it again and see if I can finish it.
Yes. I'm gonna bust out. I've got a Raspberry Pi 3 that I'm fixing to make a Retro Pi machine. Just gonna do it that way I can start playing these games over.
All right. So the next one. So this game came out, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game. Okay. So this was at Walmart, Pizza Hut, wherever. This was the age of the beat 'em up, in the arcade, the 4-player beat 'em up, and they had the Simpsons out for stuff. It's the same type of game. There's a bunch of games like this: Ninja Turtles, Simpsons. The big one was X-Men. I believe that one had 6 people could play simultaneously, and it's awesome. And you put your quarter in, you play till you die, and then you drop another quarter in, and keep on going. It's a great thing for kids. You order your pizza, you're waiting for it to be ready, so you run over there to the arcade and you play, and you come back and eat. And while you're eating, you're talking about, hey, this time I'm going to get Michelangelo when we get to this part. You're developing a strategy, and all this kind of stuff. That's how you get your little inner strategist coming out when you're just 10 years old or whatever, figuring this stuff out. But that was a lot of fun memories for that one. I particularly remember it at Walmart, though.
I remember Pizza Hut.
Well, when you went to Walmart, there's like a little breezeway that you had to go into, and it was like glass, and it had all the arcades in there. And one of them was,
I remember that one.
One of them was that Ninja Turtles, man. That was crazy. I used to love, can I play this game for a little bit? Can I play? I don't have any money. And I find $1. Like, oh my gosh, it's awesome.
Oh, we're set.
They're just sitting there waiting on you.
Well, it was $0.25 a piece back then, so
yeah,
I just remember
25 cents.
Yeah. I remember it from Pizza because I remember, just like you said, ordering a pizza and wait for it, especially for us because back then we couldn't go, we could call an order, but we always had to go pick it up because we didn't have delivery back then.
They didn't deliver in Forest.
And so you had to go to Pizza Hut to pick up your pizza.
I think they tried it for like 2 weeks one time.
Oh, yeah, it was so terrible. It was so terrible.
Like, nah,
oh, yeah, they just cut it out. And I think to this day they still don't deliver. So
they don't.
It's just wild. You have to go pick up your pizza.
And they're still in business, and Domino's is not.
Oh, they're rocking Forest. It. Yeah, but Domino's is gone. Domino's got blown out of the water.
And they delivered.
We even have a Little Caesars now, and I think it's fixing to start going down
again.
Look
at the Pizza Hut model and not deliver.
But I remember going into Pizza Hut, after mom would call in a pizza, and we'd go there, and our Pizza Hut was terrible. Every once in a while you get a good pizza from it, but it was mainly terrible.
They had shrimp pizza though. Working on shrimp pizza nowadays. You can't. I've never seen it. They have it. I think, but they still have it. When I go back, I'm going to ask for a shrimp pizza. It's not on the menu. Just say, can I get shrimp pizza? Yeah, no problem.
They probably go. And the funny thing is, they got a grocery store right behind them, so they probably go to Val's and get the shrimp to throw it on there.
Oh, it's so good.
But you would go in and you would say, hey, I'm here to pick up my pizza. Oh, it's 20 more minutes. And now, granted, you called this 30 minutes ago or more, and you still got to go in there and wait on your pizza for about 20 minutes. So my mom would just hand me a handful of quarters, and she said, here, have fun. I'm going to go to the stores back here real quick and do a little shopping. And so she would always shop while I sat there and played the video game. So I remember playing it all the time at the Pizza Hut. And two, they had it's one of the few Pizza Huts that had the Pizza Hut buffet. And so I would go, and I loved pizza back in the day. I still like pizza too, but I loved pizza back in the day. I'd go and I'd eat 2 slices of pizza. This is the only time I'd eat 2 slices of pizza is when I'd go there. I'd eat just 2 slices of pizza and then say, hey, Mom, can I go play Ninja Turtles now? I can't tell you how much time I spent on that Ninja Turtle arcade at Pizza Hut. It's just wild.
Yeah, I remember that Tuesday nights when we were in middle school, before anybody had a driver's license, that's where you go because it's like a $5 personal pan pizza and all this kind of stuff, and all the cool kids would show up and try to, make fun of each other and stuff. That's just all you did. And then, Tuesday night, you going to Pizza Hut Tuesday night? 8th grade. It was always the same people. I think I went once or twice, but it was all right. But so the point is, there was there was an arcade game out that was so much fun to beat them up. And you remember the arcades back then, the graphics were light years beyond anything the NES could do, or Sega for that matter. And when there was news on the street about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game coming out for the NES, everybody went nuts over it. Oh, I can't wait to get it. And the first person that I remember that had it was the Iceman. He had it, and he came to spend the night and brought it over, and I started playing it, and I remember being like kind of disappointed because it didn't look like the arcade, because we didn't know anything about 8-bit and all this. As far as we knew, it's a game system. It's going to make it just like it. But it could not. Obviously, it's 8-bit. So, but that it was still a fun game. I mean, it's actually like a $20 game now, and that's saying something for those old games that was one that sold a lot. But the only kind of thing is kind of similar to the part 3 that we're going to talk about next is like there's really like one move to do, and it's just the A and B at the same time, and he jumps and does their, whoosh, where they just jump and throw their weapon out, and it kills everything in one hit, and you just kept doing that. That's all you did the whole game until you got to the bosses, and the bosses you had a jump kick, and if you did that strategy, you'll finish the game. But that one had, if you played the first boss, you got Rocksteady, Bebop, who else did you have in that one? Rocksteady, Bebop. You had the Rock command, the Rock guys from Dimension X. Both of them. You had Crane in there.
Well, you had
Shredder, of course.
You had 2 different ones from the actual arcade that was added into the Nintendo version. Tora, dog-like Blizzard Beast, the one that you play in the snowboard, and then Shogun, the robotic samurai. So I mean, you had these 2 new ones that you even got on top of it. So that was 2 extra in there. Of course, Bebop and Rocksteady. You got Baxter Stockman and just all kinds. It was just so much fun.
Oh yeah, I remember Baxter. And you can buy the arcade version, the actual port on Xbox 360, probably on Xbox Live on Xbox One now.
So I think that now I know why the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game was in Pizza Huts all over the world.
Because
the NES version
sponsored it.
The NES version had a Pizza Hut logos on it, and on the rear cover of the box provided a coupon for 1 free personal pan pizza at the restaurant. And the coupon expired December 31st of 1991, so you had to use it by then. But I thought that was, I just read that and I was like, wow, I never knew that, and I never put 2 to 2 together. But
well, yeah, because Nintendo didn't want all that sponsorship stuff, or they were kind of their censorship was really, they had a really strong censorship. And I was watching a review on this one, of course, too, before this, and saw a Pizza Hut signs in the back of the snowboard, as a matter of fact, that you were talking about, where you're killing the snowmen, and it has a Pizza Hut sign there. But that one was still a lot of fun. One of the things that they do in that one that a lot of fighting beat 'em ups don't do. This one was a straight up beat 'em up. Just in case you have never played it, instead of just a side scrolling going through the sewers, top down, almost not a strategy game, but as the NES one was, the first one. This one is just a straight up beat 'em up, and it kept up with the number of foot soldiers that you killed. And so, do you remember how many men you had to kill to get an extra turtle? I think I remember this correctly. Do you remember?
Was it 100?
I think it's 200. I'm pretty sure it's 200. But it may be 100, but I'm pretty sure it's 200. It's 200, and then you get an extra turtle, because there's a lot of them on there. But anyway, yeah, that was a lot of fun. But like I said, you just do the A and B and then the jump kicks for the Ninja Turtle, the arcade game.
And they got the cover, the box art cover right. They got the different color bandanas.
Yeah, and so everybody kind of knew that one was coming out. Everybody wanted it, and that was a big seller. And it was a lot of fun, and that's kind of the ones you spend the night with your bro, and then you play that one. Now, this next one, though, Ninja Turtles 3, is very, very similar setup to the arcade game. It was not an arcade port, but this one's called the Manhattan Project, and this one came out in '92. Oh, yes. This is after the Super Nintendo came out. And then and this one was pretty much forgotten or never played. If you've not played it, you're not alone. Not a lot of people even know about this game, but there's actually a third one called the Manhattan Project, and it's a lot of fun. I like this one more than the arcade game. 2 months after
getting that one.
Yeah, 2 months after this came out, the Turtles in Time came out. So that's why it's, and like I said, Super NES was already out, so this one is pretty much forgotten. And you showed this one to me. You said, hey, there's a a third Ninja Turtle game on the NES. So it's like, okay. And you say, come check it out. Or you probably just call him like, hey, dude, come check this out. I got a new game. What is it? No, just come check it out.
I remember doing that to you all the time.
I couldn't wait to get over there. Yeah, no, it's like, I can't wait to see what it's going to be. You know, or sometimes if it was real good like that, you would just say Ninja Turtles. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. But in this one, I think you just said, yeah, who knows what you said, but it wouldn't surprise me if, knowing what I know, you probably just like, no, just come check it out. So then I go over there, and it's the same kind of scenario that we were talking about when I was talking about Shatterhands on the last episode, to where it was an NES game. So you're like, man, there's a Super Nintendo now. This is an old NES game, but it was just so much fun. We played it through the entire time, and it's kind of difficult to play through nowadays. And I own this one as well, and tried to go back and play through it just to get all the bosses and stuff. Man, I think I got to like level 3 or something, and I was done. But this one has the same type of mechanic.
Game. Huh? I remember it being a tough game.
Yeah, it was. But this one has the same type of mechanic as far as you should jump and punch or kick or whatever. But each Ninja Turtle has a special move. Like Michelangelo did like a jump, kick, handstand. I think it was Raphael that does like a bullet where he kind of torpedoes head first, where spinning in the air. And Leonardo does his twirl with the katanas out, and then Donatello balls up and spins. I can't believe I remember that.
I know I can't really remember either.
I saw some of it on YouTube, but I can't remember it on the spot. But then if you push down and B, they would use their weapons and just kind of flip the enemy over the top of their head and kill them in one hit. And that was the new A and B at the same time, was the down and B for that flip. And you don't get as many points by doing that, so it's harder to get new Ninja Turtles, but that's all you have to do is just do that one. Like I said, I couldn't get. All I did was that, and I still couldn't get past 3. So this is.
Well, the kicker on doing, if you did the special, the A and B simultaneously, it took a portion of your life every time, your health bar, and it would take it down because it had little notches on your health bar, and you would lose a notch every time you did it, unless you're on the last notch of your health bar. So that means you either have to find your health, you have to find health regen all the time, or just never use it. I don't remember using it much. I think I used the down and B all the time because it was something that killed them quick, and I didn't have to lose health.
Yeah, this is a mechanic that was in a lot of these old school beat 'em ups, to where if you push A and B, it's like a super move, but the cost was that it took some of your life away. Final Fight did it. They all kind of used that mechanic back then. But it's just kind of weird. You're in the middle of a fight and you're getting beat on, so you have to make a tactical decision. Am I going to lose more life by trying to fight out of this, or do I just use my special move? And I didn't. I'm the same way. Nobody wants to use that special move. I mean, it takes my life away. Why would I want to voluntarily, essentially, get beat up to kill this guy when I can take a chance of that not getting hit and still kill him the same way, So it's a weird thing, that mechanic. And then they had another mechanic in this game that I don't know why people use, but you had 1-player, 2-player A, and 2-player B. And 2-player B was just a standard 2-player, and 2-player A was where you could damage each other. Like who wants to play like that? Nobody wants to be able to beat, unless it's just for fun, like comical, or hey, let's fight while we're doing this. Or if you get on my nerves, I want to be able to hit you, haha. But if you're trying to finish the game, there's no point in doing it. It's not a better ending or anything.
So something that's interesting about this game, if you go look up the box art of it, there is what they called them Triceratons. That was a race of creatures that came from the dimension that Krang opened up, the dimensional portal, and brought all kinds of stuff over. But there is no Triceraton in this game at all. So I thought that was interesting to see that. So your bosses in this game include Dirtbag, Groundchuck, Slash, Leatherhead. You have Shredder and Krang, Bebop and Rocksteady, Tokka and Razar from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, and Super Shredder. And he's the final boss.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the movie, Tokka and Razar are from. Yeah. So they had did they have Super Shredder in this one, or just Super Shredder?
Super Shredder was the final boss.
Okay. Yeah. I had to go back and look on YouTube to see the final bosses because, like I said, this was way late into the NES's life cycle, and I don't remember the bosses on this one. And most of all the stuff I talk about on this show is straight off the top of my head, and I don't remember this one really well. But now, you got anything else to add about the NES ones?
Nah.
Just wanted to kind of breeze through them. And now we come to the Mac Daddy Ninja Turtle fighter beat 'em up of all time. By the way, there was another. So sorry if we don't come to that yet. There was another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game on NES, and it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters. That came out in like '94. That's a really hard, really rare and expensive game now, but that's just a fighting game. It's one of the very few fighting games on the NES. So just kind of for your information out there.
I don't ever remember playing it back in the day. I
didn't play it either.
I played it later because I had friends that had emulators and stuff like that, and they were like, "Check out this game that I found," and I learned about it through that. But I never played it and owned the game. So if you have the game, you got you a nice item in your collection.
So the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. A perfect arcade port, and I was watching a review about it before this, and the guy even said, which I agree with, is this game overhyped? He says no. Even if you have that hypeness factor going into it, you will be blown away by this game. This game was phenomenal, and it's another one that you showed me, and this one you probably were like, hey man, come check this game out. It's on Super Nintendo. Well, what is it? Nah, dude, just come check it out. So then I'm running over there. I can't. Okay, hold on. Get dressed, and I like literally sprint over. He lived right across the street, so but at a kind of an angle. So I had to I'd run over, knock on the door, and your mom would probably come to the door. He's in the back, wouldn't even come to the door.
Well, sometimes you just came to because
I just came in.
Yeah, sometimes you just busted up in the house.
Oh yeah, you had your own door.
I had my own door to the outside in my bedroom. And so I'd hear this tap at my door, and then I was like, oh, that's Marcus. Open up the door. Come on, buddy. Because my TV was right there by the door. So just come in, hop down, and sit there and watch it.
And so we played this one, and I mean, I really remember this feeling of how is this even possible? Is this game real right now? Because it was a better than arcade port than the arcade game.
It really was.
And it kept going. It never ended. It was unbelievable. And you pick you don't have to do it. There's no special move that you do all the time like we just talked about in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 and 3 on the NES. You can go you push Y, and you're throwing punches. I think you had I can't remember if you had a special move. All those standard moves were in there, but you didn't have to use them every time. And one of the cool things, you could, you run and charge, hit the foot soldiers like foot soldiers and all that, but you hit them and you flip them over and they blow up, and you can flop them around like a rag doll. You can actually throw them at the screen, and like you throw them at your screen, at you, the player. And they even instituted that mechanic. The first Shredder battle was like. Maybe the first boss was Baxter Stockman, then I think you went to like Bebop and Rocksteady. And no, you didn't go to Bebop and Rocksteady. Baxter Stockman, but it's real soon into the game you go to Shredder, and once you get to Shredder, that's when you start throwing the foot soldiers into the screen, and that was part of the mechanic for that very first boss fight, which was one of the first boss fights, which was awesome. And the foot soldiers looked like foot soldiers. I mean, the sewers, all the enemies were straight from the cartoons. It even had the fun wackiness that the old Saturday morning cartoons had. And once you kill Shredder, Shredder throws you into this dimensional portal that you go back in time. Then you fight Slash, Leatherhead, and you kind of going through all this, the Caveman, the Wild West, then I think you go to space and the future, and I mean it's just crazy. It just keeps on going. It's awesome. This was actually also an arcade game. I didn't realize that, but it was an arcade game too. I never played it or have never seen it either. Anyway,
I'd seen the arcade a couple times in Jackson. It was actually kind of rare in Jackson, but I did see it a few times. And there were some differences between the arcade and the SNES version, but for us, it didn't make any difference because we didn't play the arcade. They actually had Pizza Power song throughout the title theme on the arcade, and they took that out and did an instrumental version of the cartoon theme song for the SNES version. And then also too, there was stages added for that's something that I liked. Whenever things got ported from arcade over, things got added in. You got more stuff. So like several enemies were changed from the arcade. If you remember the arcade, that's awesome. Tell us about it. I'd like to hear about your experiences with the arcade, because most of our pretty much all of our experiences are with the SNES version. But you had Slash, who replaced a guy called Cement Man. I don't remember Cement Man at all. Rat King was there. Battle Tank Shredder, the duo of Bebop and Rocksteady, replaced Toka and Reza in a board, but Toka and Razor were moved into another area. Were moved into the new Technodrome level that was added for the SNES version, and it also replaced the final boss. I forgot what the final boss was in the. Let's see. Hold on. Make sure I'm saying this right. The game also replaces the final boss with Super Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. If you go look on our Instagram, I've got a picture of the Super Shredder toy that I actually got in Chattanooga. If you go in my toy box at home in Forest, I actually have a copy of him, but he's all tore up and everything. And when I walked into this toy store, I found him, and I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta pay the money for this guy to get him, and I'm so happy to have him. But it's really cool to see that, and to see that they incorporated so much from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 movie into these games, because this is covering several games now that Super Shredder and them have been in there. Bebop and Rocksteady are classic, which they actually weren't in any of the three original movies. There were hints at them, but never them actually in there. Toka and Razor were more of the Bebop and Rocksteady in the movies, but they never acted like Bebop and Rocksteady from the show. And now if you go watch the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies, the second one actually has Bebop and Rocksteady in it now, which was kind of neat to see them come into it and actually be the Rhino and Warthog, and that was a lot of fun seeing that. But there's so many memories. I don't know where to go. I'm so scatterbrained talking about this because I'm so pumped up about this. This is you can ask Holliwood. I was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles freak. I mean, it's just all the stuff that I have. I mean, I've got the Technodrome. I got all kinds of random toys. I mean, there's a bike that turns into a glider that I have. I mean, you can ask Holliwood. I've just got a ridiculous amount of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stuff. So,
you know who played Super Shredder in the movie?
Yes, I do know.
Who?
Kevin Nash.
That's crazy. That's awesome. He was at the Diesel. Kevin Nash.
Kevin Nash was Diesel in WWE, and he was Kevin Nash in WCW as the Outsiders and beginning of the NWO. You just asked a WWE and Ninja Turtles fanatic who Super Shredder was. You gotta know who that is.
He was at the Comic-Con here in Panama City Beach. They have a little Comic-Con cool. now. Him and Hacksaw Jim Duggins, and I went the second day where hardly anybody was there.
Yeah.
So I could talk to everybody, and I talked to Hacksaw for a good 10 minutes or so, and he was really cool. And
Hacksaw's a cool guy.
He's like, "You watched the shows back in the day?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did. I watched it more, with Hogan and everything." I said, "I'm a pretty big Hogan fan. I liked his shows." Hogan Knows Best. I like those. And he goes, yeah. I said, is that how he is? Or he said, well, a lot of guys didn't like him. I liked him. So I guess a lot of the wrestlers didn't like Hogan, which is kind of different. I would think they did like him. And he said, I said, is that how he is in real life, or is that just for the show? And he's like, it's kind of for the show, but he's pretty much, he didn't want to say that's not how he is, but he wanted to take up for Hogan, but I like him. I actually read Hogan's book too. It's pretty cool, his side of the story for his divorce and everything, but in his whole career as he became a wrestler and stuff. But Kevin Nash, I stood beside the dude waiting to talk to him, and he's talking to some woman about business or something, and he never even looked over there. Nobody else was in there, so I was like, man, this dude's kind of being a punk, so I didn't want to talk to him anymore. He's coming back, too, and I was like, nah, I don't want to talk to him. So, I don't know, he's just busy. I didn't try to get his attention. But I did meet one of the, another guy was like I don't know if he was the Green Power Ranger or what, one of the Power Rangers, young kid. He was super cool though, man, and he's just talking. He's like, "Hey, I had Jacob with my little son." He's like, "You let him watch Power Rangers or anything?" And I was like, "Nah, man, we let him watch Ninja Turtles a little too early." And he started beating on all the kids at school. And had to take it away from him. So he did. I mean, don't let your kids watch Ninja Turtles or anything, before a certain age, because they start fighting.
So since you question my Ninja Turtle knowledge of who Super Shredder is, I've got one for you.
Good.
Do you know who in the cartoon was the voice of Shredder?
Oh, I thought it was going to be a hard one.
The actor.
Oh, the actor?
The actor that does the voice of Shredder in the cartoon. Do you know who it is?
Well, I keep thinking of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It keeps popping in my mind. And I'm going to go ahead and say it's Uncle Phil, James Avery.
You're correct. It's James Avery. Uncle Phil does that voice.
Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it?
When I found that out, I was like, oh my gosh, we got Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Ninja Turtles. Two of my favorite shows. All got major connections in there.
So, yeah, that was always a big thing for us, man. The movie came out. It was great. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 came out. The movie, it was awesome. They got Token and Razor introduced, but then they're going to do a Ninja Turtles 3. You're like, what? Who they're going to have? It's your kid. You're like, oh, they're going to put in Rat King. Who's going to be the villain? Is it going to be? They hadn't done Bebop and Rocksteady yet. That's going to have to be on there, blah, blah, blah. And you get these people that nobody's ever heard of. So I go back in time. Anyway, this is not a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, the movie review, but that is a terrible excuse for a Ninja Turtle movie, and it flopped terribly, and it's probably one of the worst movies ever made. As far as story, what it could have been. Obviously, the production value's okay, but
it could have been so much more than what it was. Yeah, the time traveling
classic
thing. I mean, just
man, the villain of Ninja Turtles 1, I believe, and I can't remember his name. Not Shredder, but Shredder's henchman. The second in command guy. He was in the command of all the foot soldiers. He's actually in the Sega Genesis Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade kind of knockoff. It's called Hyperstone Heist. He's actually in that one, so that's kind of a weird thing. That one random guy from the movie, Tutsu or something like that. Tutsu, he's just a normal guy, but he's in the Hyperstone Heist. And I never played Hyperstone Heist. I actually did play it on a PSP, on an emulator, but, it's got the Sega sound, which is not super good. The color palette, I like the way the game looks, so it looks really good. But if you got a Sega, it's definitely worth the play. If you want a good beat 'em up and you like Ninja Turtles, or just want a good arcade / good party game, that's definitely a good one for Sega. But I never played that one. Not quite as good as Turtles in Time, but
so it's this whole thing and this whole joke that's been going on about me asking questions. I have to ask you another trivia question on Ninja Turtles.
I like trivia.
Just to see if you can do this one, and it's going to be about the new movie. About not the newest one, but the first new one, the first redo of Ninja Turtles. Do you know who was the voice actor for Leonardo in the first movie of the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie? Movies have just been going on these past couple of years.
That's a good question, and I know who it is, but let me think.
And it's not somebody you would think. That's what it was. It was random when they did this.
Oh, who is it? I know this.
He's a famous person.
Yeah, I know who this is. Oh my gosh, I know who this is.
Oh, did I stump him? Did I stump him?
No, I'll get it. If you give me enough time, since we're on the podcast, I guess I could just edit it. But I know who this guy is. Don't tell me yet.
He had a TV show. He's had some movies.
Yeah,
and it's about him and his buddies. and in all of them, on all of them, they were all famous for doing stuff.
I know who this guy because I thought it was really cool. Who is it? What's his initials? Are they? Give me his first.
His initials are JK.
Oh, maybe. Okay, who is it?
Johnny Knoxville.
Yes, I knew that. Yeah, I knew. I swear I knew that. I could not remember.
So crazy. That's when awesome. I heard that he was going to be the voice of Leonardo. He was only for the voiceover of Leonardo for the first one, but I thought it was crazy because they were using Johnny Knoxville's popularity at the time, because I think that that was around the same time Bad Grandpa had came out too, and so they were trying to capitalize on his popularity, which he's pretty popular. I mean, for some. And so, I mean,
he's got a good voice for it.
He did really good. His voice was really good in it. I was really impressed. I did not like their choice of April O'Neil.
Oh yeah, that's kind of weird.
That was terrible.
But
don't
even have orange hair.
It was just a fun fact that just thinking about it, I was like, how many people know that he is the voice of Leonardo for the first one of the new?
I love trivia, man. I did know that when I remember him doing an interview, seeing it. I mean, I see the interview in my head right now. I just couldn't remember on the spot. But I kept thinking, Channing Tatum. Yeah, whatever. It was something like that. Kept popping in my head. And I couldn't get it out of my head, and I'm like, that's not him though.
Nah.
But the original one, who was Donatello, was Corey Feldman, and the original movie, but. Yeah, but that was that kind of popped back up in my head, so I was like, oh man. But I remember Johnny Knoxville now that you mentioned it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what was I going to say about the? Let's just kind of jump back to the Super Nintendo real quick, as I wanted to just kind of reiterate that there is if you have an Xbox 360, you can go back and play, or Xbox Live, you can go back and play the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 arcade game, the exact port. And you can play a Turtles in Time remake. The graphics are they're different. I wouldn't even say better. I was going to say better, but I kind of like the graphics on the new one. I think the Super Nintendo graphics just hit just right for that Turtles in Time, that type of game.
They really did.
Fun game, like fun, and the whole theme and kind of the aura of the game. It's just supposed to be this just big fun. Romp through New York and time, but the port, or excuse me, the remake and I bought it and I was super stoked to get it on 360, but it's not the exact same thing as Turtles in Time. It's got like 5 stages or something. I was so disappointed. And I was like, oh, dude, seriously, man, why did y'all? So I noticed it was skipping stages, and I was like, what? But and then I was going to say this about the you said that they added new stuff to the arcade port on the NES version, and then the arcade port for the Super Nintendo version, and that's something Nintendo's kind of known for, is adding their spin on these types of things, which is really good. You can actually get a Tekken tag tournament game for the Wii U, and you can fight as Mario. You're a big, tall Tekken character dressed up like Mario. It's just so weird. And I bet he has some interesting moves and stuff.
So, since you say that, this is super random, super completely not related to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at all. Fortnite is getting released on the Nintendo Switch.
Oh.
The reason why I say that is because it's not Fortnite like we know it. It's with its Nintendo twist, and it's Mario Brothers Fortnite.
What?
Like, you got Mario.
Yeah, there you go.
You got Mario characters that even look like the Splatoon. One of the Splatoon players was in it.
Inklings.
So you got that. Just something want the listeners to catch. And I wish I would have remembered that at news. But when you said that Nintendo puts their own twist on things,
that's perfect.
That was it.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, so that'll be interesting. So they love to do that kind of stuff, and it's always something better, and it's always more fun because they get a hold of it.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of started back, way back in the days. You can talk even with the games we're talking about now, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. They added the new characters and the new stages. So good on them, man. I think that's really good, and just shows their creativity and their ability to make fun games.
Well, that's what fun. That's what's making me more excited about Nintendo again, and it makes me want to go buy a Nintendo Switch. And then on top of that, what Capcom's doing as well with all their crossovers. You know, and I guess that could be another topic for another podcast, is crossovers and how they happen, because I mean it's happening a lot more often now.
Capcom, I love Capcom, but you know, I could care less about having my character look like the girl from Zero Dawn. I mean, it does nothing for my guy, you know. So I don't really care about or have a Ryu outfit. I don't care about aesthetics. In fact, that Kuklu Laku helmet that you were talking about.
Kulu Yaku.
Like, yeah, Kulu Yaku.
Kulu Yaku, yeah.
I was kind of like, whatever. I don't really need it. But then I was building some armor. I actually built the Immortality set, the Valhalla, man, and it is sick. And I'm ready to go back and play it right now while we're talking. Because I can't die on it. It's so awesome. I did die once, but it is just super cool. I never even get heal potions or anything. I don't even need them. But I did look at the helmet, and it is helpful because it helps you pick up stuff and run faster and all this while you're carrying stuff. So I went back and did that because it's helpful. But any aesthetics, I don't care. Capcom's kind of doing that, which I'm good. I'm with you, man. I love that they're doing that, and I love Capcom. And I'm glad that they're implementing all their games like that. But Nintendo takes it a little bit further and actually adds some
they add meat to it. They add meat to it. You know, it's not just okay, you know, we got this, let's just throw it in there. It's like, okay, Nintendo's like, okay, it's coming over from the arcade. We're going to be losing something because of that. How can we make it better for the player? And so they add in these new characters that we know from the cartoons. Add in these boards that, you know, maybe, you know, don't have anything to do with anything. There's just another fun board to do. I mean, the Snowman board on the arcade, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 arcade, that was a fun little snowboard. I remember playing that one and, you know, getting frustrated at it, but it was fun.
So yeah, they can take any game and play with the best. And they're still the king of fun factor. And every gamer in the world wants Nintendo to succeed at what they're doing. So I'm glad the Switch is coming out and it's starting to do well. And I got to get one. This is one of those tricky things with these new systems. You want to wait for the price to go down, or you want to wait for more games to come out and just see how it's going to do. But Nintendo Switch has been out for over a year, so the lifespan of systems now is going to be within that 5 years. So you've missed a year already of playing. And granted, yeah, you can go back and play any games you want, but you know, like you can still play the Super Nintendo now. Thing's 25 years old.
Yeah, but you make a point there. Most systems short life cycle. That means prices come down quick. Look at PlayStation 4 Pro. It was out for less than a year and they already knocked the price down. PlayStation 4, it was out a year, they knocked the price down. Xbox One, out a year, knocked the price down. Wasn't big, huge price changes, but whenever the next holiday season came around, they knocked it down. Nintendo Switch has gone through, if I'm not mistaken, 2 holiday seasons. No price knock at all. It's still $300.
Yeah, I think it's gone through one, but...
Is it just one?
Yeah, because it came out like March of last year, I think. I don't know. Maybe, I can't remember, but it's a year old, so it's got to be just one.
But either way, it's not showing the signs like the other systems. It's not just the price
that we're talking about. I'm talking about you want to see which games are for it, or they release a Mario Odyssey Switch. Hey, I like that one, or a Zelda Switch, which in Breath of the Wild's out. You know, I want a new Zelda. But you know, obviously that's going to be their flagship Zelda for a while. But yeah, so I need to get one, but I don't want my son to play it. That's really why. I don't want him to mess it up because he's already. I think my Wii U gamepad is broken now because I don't know what they get into, man. But their hands are greasy and nasty. They don't wash them. They just touch whatever they want. And they're not playing the game. It's all over. I gotta wipe it off or buttons stick in and.
PSA for anybody that has kids and they're gamers: don't let your kids touch your stuff.
Yeah.
Because it gets sticky, gets nasty.
Well, I mean, you're going to sit there and not let him touch it and let him sit there and whine, or you can let him. I mean, I like him to play games. He's really good at Mario. I mean, if I told you, you wouldn't believe. You would think all he does is play Mario, or you would think I was lying. Neither one of those are true. He's just good at it. He's getting past stages that I can't get past.
So I have some broken controllers. Everybody's got them. Stick it in his hand. That's what I did. That's what I'm doing with mine.
That works when they're 3. It don't work when they're 5. It's almost 6.
Well, yeah, they know now. But Seth, I stick the controller in his hand and say, "Here you go," and he's just like, thinks it's the best thing ever, and it's crazy, And so that's how I keep my controllers from getting sticky. And 2, I play when he's asleep, so. I avoid seeing him not play. Avoid seeing him play me playing games.
When you got 3, and I get home from work, sometimes my wife, which that's a bonus for me, my wife is like, "Go take Jacob, and y'all go to the room and just play games or something, just to kind of get him out of her hair." Yeah, I get to play games, and we're good until dinner's ready, and so that's kind of a bonus there. But it's cool that he likes them. But he wants a Switch, of course, and I was thinking about getting him one, but then, of course, it's his, and so now he's going to play it whenever he wants, and it's going to be sticky, and especially if it's something like that you can, slide the deck in and pull it out and touch the screen and all this, so I don't know. I'm going to have to get one, but I would probably put it in the den or something.
Teach him not to slide the deck out.
Well, I mean, I'd probably put it in the den or something, and so that he can, there's a family system to where, okay, it's more of a formal event because everybody's got to stop watching TV or whatever. If somebody's doing something in the den, okay, it's time to play Mario Kart or whatever. So everybody wash your hands, this kind of thing. But you tell
wash
them
your hands,
anyway.
put on these gloves. Here you go. Now you can touch it.
And I say, "Dude, let me see your hands." And he looks at them, touching. They're not sticky. But it's like, what are you doing? How do you got? Yes. Are you sweating or something while you're playing? I don't know. Whatever.
I get my kid out of the tub tonight. No lie, within 5 minutes, there's some kind of substance on him already. I'm like, "Well, what did you do?" "Dude, we're going to bed. Why are you nasty?" I'm putting him to bed. I'm like, "Dude, what is this?" And he touches my phone because I'm letting him watch Peppa Pig. He likes Peppa Pig.
Yeah.
He touches my phone when I get back from him. I'm like, "Dude, this is slimy. What did you put it in your mouth? Don't do no." So, yes.
Oh, what is it? What's the substance?
Never knew what the substance was. I just wiped it off and moved on. Could never figure it out.
It's a substance. What do you mean? It's just substances.
I think it ended up being like a combination of some water, some gel soap, and some spit, I think. It was just some kind of combination. I was like, "Oh my gosh." So
well, cool, man. Let's go ahead and wrap this up because I got some Monster Hunter I need to go play for the next 30 minutes or so.
I got some sleep to go do because we've got Easter stuff to handle in the morning. So
I do too, but I'll just be sleepy. In fact, but I won't even get it.
I got to put all my recording stuff up before he comes in here. Otherwise, he's gonna start messing with it. And I don't need a sticky mic and a sticky headset. All right, guys. Well, hope you guys enjoyed it, and leave us some questions and comments on our Facebook or Instagram. My personal one's Holliwood Cole with the HolliwoodKole on Instagram or Twitter. Follow us on either one of those, and we got you'll also find the not Clearfire, but what am I trying to say? The HnK. I'm trying to think of what it was called. The HnK Video Game Experience. Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. So we're HnK-Exp on Facebook, right? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you can find us. I've got us branded to where you should be able to find us if you do HnK-Exp. You should be able to find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram by using that. So go look up that. If you want to pop us with something, you can do the @sign at. The @sign HN, the letter NKEXP, and it should hit us.
Yep. And so if your friends, if you like what you're hearing, tell your friends, leave us a review, something, and if it's easy to point them to our Facebook if you want them to learn how to listen. Just the HnK-Exp, because from that Facebook page you'll be able to to find out where all of our stuff is that we just mentioned. And it's going to be the pinned post at the top, where you can the latest episode will be up there with a picture of what it's about, so Ninja Turtles for this one. And it'll also have all the different links for YouTube, for Google Play, for
iTunes.
Yeah, for iTunes. Well, iTunes too, you have to type VH&K video game experience and search, and it'll pull that up on iTunes too. That's another way you can do it.
I need to double check and make sure that I have the iTunes link in there so you can just click it and go. Because in our feed and everything, I do have it Google Play wise, because for some reason it's a pain to search in Google Play. But I've got it set to where you go, you click it, it'll take you straight to Google Play. You can see that from your phone, from anything, it'll take you straight to Google Play. And it'll take you straight to our podcast on there. So, and then also too, you've got me following on. I've got Twitter, got Facebook and Instagram. If you find me, it's KLEERFYRE. Yeah, you can hit me up. Got questions, comments, you found something cool collecting, let's chat about it.
Yep, and if you play Monster Hunter and you want to do some killing, let me know. Yeah, we'll get it done.
Well, we've got a Monster Hunter little squad that we play with. We've got a chat if you want to. We've got a PSN chat set up if you ever want to jump in to try to set up a game time with us. Hopefully soon we're going to start streaming a little bit, or at least publishing records of our stream. So I'm trying to get some of that figured out and see if I can get the technology right to do it. Because where I'm at, I can play my games online all day long. I can't stream very well. I don't have enough bandwidth, upstream bandwidth. So, which isn't a big deal. I can just record it and play it later, or play it out for y'all later. So, hit us up. We'd like to play with y'all too. So,
yep, cool. Well, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Appreciate it, guys. Take it easy.